Good evening. Tonight we begin with Israel's deadly strike on Hamas leadership in Qatar, a major escalation in the nearly two-year-long war. Security cameras, you see it right here, the moment Israeli airstrikes blast through buildings in Doha, killing 5 senior members of Hamas who had been part of ceasefire negotiations. Cell phone video shows people running through the Qatari capital, which had been a key location for peace talks, you may remember, throughout this war. Here's a look at where the strike took place, thousands of miles from Israel, and reportedly the first time the IDF has targeted inside Qatar. The White House with a rare rebuke of Israel, saying President Trump disagrees with the location of the strike. It comes just one day after gunmen opened fire at a bus stop in Jerusalem, killing 6 people, Hamas taking responsibility for that attack. And the big question tonight, will this escalating violence set back any hope for peace in the region? Our Richard Engel has been following it all and leads us off tonight.
The Israeli airstrikes in Doha, Qatar were captured by security cameras. One explosion at the back of the targeted building, followed by another in the front. Cell phone video shows people running in the normally quiet and peaceful Qatari capital. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu said the targets were Hamas leaders who have an office in Qatar.
At noon today, I convened the heads of Israel's security organizations and authorized a surgical precision strike on the terrorist chiefs of Hamas. These are the same terrorist chiefs who planned, launched, and celebrated the horrific massacres of October 7th.
He says he gave the green light for the strike after Hamas claimed responsibility for Monday's mass shooting, where gunmen opened fire on commuters at a Jerusalem bus stop, killing 6 Israelis. But the White House tonight had rare criticism of Israel and its decision to hit Hamas in Qatar, neutral ground where negotiations among enemies take place. The Hamas office was opened in Qatar over a decade ago in a deal with Washington's support to facilitate diplomacy.
Unilaterally bombing inside Qatar, a sovereign nation and close ally of the United States that is working very hard and bravely taking risks with us to broker peace, does not advance Israel or America's goals. However, eliminating Hamas, who have profited off the misery of those living in Gaza, is a worthy goal.
The White House saying the U.S. military, not Israel, notified it of Israel's operation as it was happening, and that the U.S. then told Qatar, whose government called it a cowardly Israeli attack and state terrorism. Tonight, President Trump speaking to Netanyahu and Qatar's top leaders.
He assured them that such a thing will not happen again on their soil.
Israel says it is still assessing the effect of the strike. Hamas says that several of its members were killed, but none of its top leaders. Qatar says that a member of its security services was also among the dead. And Tom, this has dealt a significant blow to diplomacy. Qatar was the key interlocutor in these talks, and tonight families of Israeli hostages are expressing deep concern that this could mean the end of negotiations. And Qatari officials say, as of now, there are no negotiations.
Richard Engel in Jerusalem for us tonight. Richard, thank you. For more on what Israel's strike means for the future of peace talks and the war in Gaza, I want to bring in Keir Simmons, who just arrived on the ground for us in Doha. Keir, thanks so much for getting live for us there. I know your flight just landed. You spent a lot of time in Qatar, and you've seen the mediation work firsthand. Back in late 2023, you spoke with a lead negotiator as 24 hostages were being released from captivity. Now that Israel has signaled Hamas leaders are no longer safe in Doha, is Qatar's role as a mediator diminished?
Well, I think you have to say, Tom, that it has. As you say, I just landed here in Doha around an hour ago. I will tell you that there's no sense of heightened alarm here, but of course it is alarming for the Qataris. I mean, this is the second time that this city has been hit just this year, first by Iran and now, Tom, by the Israelis. You're right. I have interviewed members of Hamas here in Doha over a number of years. I've been to the headquarters, if you like, here in this city. It was it was guarded, you might say. Certainly there were kind of Hamas security around. They were always quite careful about not allowing, for example, people to film outside about the location of those headquarters. But of course, it was widely known. And people will be asking, why was Hamas able to be here? Now, what the Qataris will say, Tom, is that they were asked by the Israelis and by the US to host Hamas here in order to be mediators in the ongoing conflict and tension between Hamas and Israel. Of course, that has come off the rails, if you like, since the Hamas attack on Israel. And I think for the Qataris now, there will be a huge question over whether they can continue to play that role. They have been heavily criticized for it, some suggesting, many suggesting in Israel and in the US that they, by having Hamas here and with their relations with Hamas, they are too close to Hamas. The question, though, of course, is if Hamas leaves here, and in the past year or so, Tom, Qatar has threatened to throw Hamas out. If Hamas leaves here, where do they go? And would they go somewhere where they are harder to reach and harder to talk to?
Yeah, it's almost a thankless job there for the Qataris. I do want to bring up some responses and reaction from around the region. Saudi Arabia condemned the attacks as, quote, brutal, while Jordan called the strike a dangerous escalation. And if you look at this map, Israel is 1,000 miles away from Doha. In between are other major Arab powers, including Saudi Arabia and Jordan, as we mentioned. Seeing the long-range strikes Israel's able to carry out here and with attacks on Iran early this year, what does this mean for the stability of the region?
Well, it makes the region more unstable, and that will be unwelcome among many of the countries here in the Gulf, the countries you mentioned, for example, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates. Their entire foreign policy, the entire principle of their international relations is to try to gain stability in order to grow economically, and that clearly is under threat when a country in the Gulf is being bombed effectively, albeit the Israelis talking about a targeted attack, and albeit that the Iranians targeted that US base here, and that there was so much notice that that US base, Al-Udein, was able to be cleared out before that attack happened. Of course, it will be disturbing for many of these countries. And just remember, here in Qatar, as an example, is the biggest US base in the region. Every one of those countries I mentioned have US bases. Qatar is a non-NATO US ally. Each of those countries have played, deliberately so, in order to gain strategically, have played key strategic roles for the United States over many years. So this is a real risk to the equilibrium, if you like, of a region that has been very important to Washington over decades.
Yeah, Keir, before you go, don't answer that phone, but before you go, do you think this is the end of Qatar's role in this peace process?
It may not be. Qatar has suggested that it would walk away on a number of occasions, even decided not to have Hamas here on previous occasions, and then have gone back to this, what they describe as the mediation process. So I don't think we can rush to that conclusion. That being said, the foreign policy position of countries like Saudi Arabia in the region have become more and more tougher and tougher as the Gaza war has continued. And I think that what's happened here in Qatar will continue that process. And the real question is, how do these countries, how does Israel, how do the Palestinians, how do the countries in this region get to the end of this?
Keir Simmons, who's just hit the ground but already done so much reporting. Keir, our thanks to you. Back here in the States to that other breaking news we've been following tonight from Washington. President Trump today reacting for the first time since that raunching drawing we showed you yesterday that he allegedly made as part of a birthday gift for Jeffrey Epstein became public. Here's NBC's Hallie Jackson with more.
President Trump, for the first time, now reacting to the release of that notorious Jeffrey Epstein birthday book. Telling NBC's Garrett Haake in a phone call, it's a dead issue, not commenting further. That's after the House Oversight Committee released these images of a book compiled by Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell for Epstein's 50th birthday in 2003. It includes this drawing, allegedly from the president, of a naked woman's outline, a signature near the thighs. The message, in part, enigmas never age.
The president did not write that letter. He did not sign those documents.
The White House signaling it's open to an expert handwriting review and blasting Democrats who have been vocal.
The release of the salacious pictures from the Epstein files shows what a liar Trump is.
But it's Republicans, the president's own party, leading the investigation on Capitol Hill.
Democrats find one thing in there and they promote it and try to get a narrative. This investigation's about providing justice and accountability for the victims.
The newly released book features page after page from Epstein's friends with repeated raunchy references to sex and massages. This sketch showing Epstein handing balloons to girls labeled 1983 and 20 years later surrounded by half-naked women. Another person adding photos of wild animals having sex. Epstein died by suicide behind bars in 2019, awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking charges. Now, the family of one of his most prominent accusers, Virginia Roberts Giuffre, calling the latest document release a turning point that should expose systemic failures. Another survivor, Liz Stein, who sat down with us last week, today describing her reaction.
It really just made me ill. It really just solidified to me what the culture of Epstein and his friends were. And it's right there in black and white in this book.
All right, Hallie Jackson joins us tonight from Washington. Hallie, walk our viewers through what's expected to happen tomorrow, and also congressional staffers are expected to review more Epstein documents?
Yeah, that's right. And they're going to do it in New York, Tom. That's when this bipartisan group of committee staff is going to head up to meet with lawyers from the Epstein estate. They're going to look at unredacted versions of the documents the estate is turning over, which you saw in that piece, which you're seeing online. That's redacted from the committee. They'll look at the original version, essentially, unredacted. The committee chair says there is also more to come, more documents expected. They are focusing on following the money and on Epstein's financial records as well. Tom?
All right. Hallie Jackson for us. Hallie, we thank you. For more on how the fallout from the release of Epstein's birthday book and other records is playing out on Capitol Hill, I want to bring in NBC News Capitol Hill correspondent Melanie Zanona. Melanie, so great to see you again on Top Story. We heard there from Hallie that it's members of President Trump's own party on Capitol Hill that are leading this investigation, pushing for more documents to be released. Where does this leave Republicans on the Hill who are backing the president when it comes to this letter, but are also trying to satisfy the MAGA base?
Well, it leaves Republicans in a really tough spot because, yes, they want to throw some red meat to the base, which is clamoring for more information about the Epstein case. But at the same time, you have Donald Trump, who really just wants everyone to move on entirely from this saga. And what we saw over the last 24 hours is there's a real risk for Republicans here in digging up information, more information about the Epstein case, because it could potentially put their own party and President Trump in a really uncomfortable position. So all day today, Republicans have been on defense, and that includes James Comer, the chairman of this committee that got this information. He said he agrees with the White House that he doesn't believe Trump's signature is actually on that entry in the birthday book, but he said his committee is not interested in investigating any potential forgery. Let's just take a listen to what he had to say.
I'm pretty sure the document was 22 years ago. 22 years ago was, I believe, when that was allegedly sent. So I don't think the Oversight Committee is going to invest in looking up something 22 years ago. We're going to look.
So you're just going to take the president at his word that he.
What does it have to do with anything? I mean, at the end of the day, again, this investigation is about providing justice for the victim.
Now, worth pointing out here, Comer is interested in investigating the signature of President Biden and his use of a so-called auto pen. But at least when it comes to the Epstein investigation, we're told the next steps, they really want to follow the money trail. So waiting for those next shoes to drop here. Tom?
Okay, Melanie Zanona on the Hill for us tonight. Melanie, we thank you. Now to an update on that gruesome stabbing on a light rail train in North Carolina we brought you last night. Now authorities are announcing a new federal charge as the case ignites a political firestorm. Gabe Gutierrez has the late details.
Tonight, a new federal charge against the man seen in this disturbing surveillance video pulling a knife from his pocket and repeatedly stabbing a Ukrainian refugee to death last month as she sat on a train in Charlotte, North Carolina.
This is obviously a horrible, horrible situation.
The U.S. attorney choking back tears, describing how 23-year-old Irina Zarutska had fled her war-torn country, where she had been staying in a bomb shelter. Here in the U.S., the FBI says she quickly got a work permit and held jobs at a senior citizen center and a pizza restaurant.
She was building her young life. She had recently moved in with her partner.
DeCarlos Brown Jr. had already been charged with murder at the state level. Now he also faces a federal count of committing an act causing death on a mass transportation system. President Trump today highlighting his lengthy criminal history, including a conviction for armed robbery, also blaming Democrats for enacting cashless bail.
She was slaughtered by a deranged monster who was roaming free after 14 prior arrests. We cannot allow a depraved criminal element of violent repeat offenders to continue spreading destruction and death throughout our country.
The Trump administration also threatening to withhold federal funds if local authorities don't do enough to protect mass transit riders.
Tragically, a public transportation system in a major American city was more dangerous than the active war zone that she left.
Charlotte's Democratic mayor announcing the city will increase security on the light rail system.
Too many guns on the street, not enough police officers on the street, and we need to identify mental health as a public health crisis.
Gabe Gutierrez joins us tonight from the White House. Gabe, I know you have some new reporting for our viewers. We're hearing now from Irina's family tonight.
Yeah, that's right, Tom. Just within the past few minutes, we heard from her family's attorney. The attorney says, in part, that the family is saying, we are heartbroken beyond words. Irina came here to find peace and safety, and instead her life was stolen from her in the most horrific way. Now, the family also describes that she had texted her boyfriend the night she was killed, and it was only when her loved ones noticed on her phone that her location was still at the light rail station that they then went to the station and were devastated to learn that she had died. The family is also calling on Charlotte city officials to publicly address what they call security failures at the light rail station and enact reforms. Tom?
Okay, Gabe Gutierrez at the White House. Gabe, we thank you. A new report today, you may have seen it, giving a troubling glimpse into the state of the U.S. economy, showing how soft the job market may be. The Bureau of Labor Statistics revising earlier reports saying the U.S. economy added more than 900,000 fewer jobs than previously thought from April of last year through this March. The White House now saying the new data proves the Bureau needed new leadership 1 month after firing its commissioner. NBC News senior business correspondent Christine Romans breaks down what it all means.
31-year-old Fatima Gill is all too aware that the jobs market isn't as strong as many Americans had thought.
There are nights where I just cry myself to sleep.
Gill lives in Cleveland and was laid off from her operations job at a marketing and advertising firm back in March.
I really don't know what to do anymore.
She says she's had dozens of job interviews with no luck.
Did you ever think 6 months later you'd still be looking for a job? All of me, my friends, my family were all surprised that it's been this long at this point. I had a better luck during the pandemic finding a new job than I do now.
Her struggle reflecting signs of slowing in the job market.
This may be the biggest revision ever.
New Bureau of Labor Statistics numbers today showing 911,000 fewer jobs were created from April 2024 to March 2025 than previous reports showed. A routine update based on new data showing the growing challenge of getting an accurate picture of the jobs market. J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon.
I think the economy's weakening. Whether that is on the way to recession or just weakening, I don't know.
The White House press secretary today using the numbers to justify firing the BLS commissioner just last month and to place blame on the previous administration.
This makes it very clear that President Trump inherited a much worse economy by the Biden administration than ever reported.
Fatima Gill more concerned about her unemployment benefits ending in October. Now worried she'll have to move back in with her mom.
It is scary. Because it's not in your own control. It's in the control of the economy. What kind of helps me is I'm not alone in the sense of I know other people are experiencing very similar things to what I'm feeling.
Christine Romans joins us now. We hope she finds a job at some point.
Yeah.
It's so hard out there for so many. I do want to ask you, the president has put so much pressure on the Fed to lower interest rates. Explain to our viewers how this will now affect the Fed's thinking.
Well, it's pretty likely the Fed might be close to cutting interest rates here because the Fed has two jobs. You know, it has to look at price stability, that's inflation, and maximum employment. And it looks like they might be getting more concerned about softening in the job market, which would mean they could cut interest rates here.
And then I know you have some breaking news we've been following today about the Supreme Court and tariffs. Explain to our viewers what's going on.
That's right. The Supreme Court has agreed to fast track the president's, the White House's request to see this case that so many companies and states brought against the government against those country-by-country tariffs. They say they're not fair. It's illegal for the president to use emergency powers to put these tariffs on. So the Supreme Court will look at that case in early November.
All right, Christine Roman, it's great to have you here in Top Story. Thank you. Also breaking tonight, Polish armed forces say they've scrambled aircraft to protect their airspace as Russia launches a new round of strikes on Ukraine. It comes just hours after Poland closed its border with Belarus as Russia carries out military exercises. Tonight, Poland says their air defenses are on high alert. Ukraine's air force is warning that Russian drones have entered Poland's airspace. Poland has yet to confirm that detail. We are back now with a disturbing story out of Alabama, where police say a retired Auburn professor was attacked and killed while walking her dog. A 28-year-old man now charged with her murder. NBC's Priya Sridhar is in Auburn with the latest on this investigation.
Tonight, a community on edge after a retired Auburn University veterinary professor was murdered while walking her dog in a park she frequented with her pet.
I am actually very shocked.
Auburn police say 59-year-old Dr. Julie Schinelli was killed shortly after 10 a.m. on Saturday in Kiesel Park. According to court documents, authorities report that the suspect used a bladed object to kill the victim. This is the park where the attack happened. As you can see, mourners are leaving behind flowers here and a growing memorial for the victim. Police say they received a phone call about a woman's body who was discovered in the wooded area here. They say when they arrived on scene, they found her red truck missing. The next morning, police say they received a call about a suspicious person walking near the park. When they responded, they arrested 28-year-old Harold Rashad Dabney III. He's been charged with 2 counts of capital murder.
She was always super fun, and I remember thinking I just want half of her spunk and her personality.
Her former student Ashley Rutter is remembering Schinelli as a dedicated mother, professor, and friend.
She's like the person that you called if you needed something.
Auburn University mourning the beloved member of their faculty and alumnus who worked for the school for nearly 20 years.
She was selfless. She's going to live on through the people that she trained, and there are thousands of them.
The suspect is being held without bond. His next court date is scheduled for October. The DA telling NBC News they will seek the death penalty.
All right, Priya Sridhar joins us tonight from Auburn. Priya, this is just another terrible and sad story. Do police have any leads that may connect the suspect to the professor?
So, Tom, authorities haven't released an official motive just yet, but we do know that the district attorney's office has charged the suspect, Harold Rashad Dabney III, with capital murder during a kidnapping and capital murder during a robbery. We also know that Auburn police have recovered that red truck that belonged to Dr. Schinelli, but they aren't releasing any more details about exactly how the suspect could be tied to this crime. We know that his next scheduled court appearance is in October. Tom?
All right, Priya Sridhar. Priya, thank you. Still ahead tonight, the dramatic whistleblower claims against Meta. Did the company bury research about kids' safety online? And Apple rolling out its new line of iPhones. We'll get a look at all the latest features and products, including AirPods that translate in real time. But first, Top Story's top moment, Cardi B hitting the streets of New York to promote her new album. The rapper posing as a sidewalk vendor to promote her upcoming album, Am I the Drama, in Harlem. Take a look.
$9.99. These are $15 right here, sir. $20. $9.99 for the little ones. Y'all get the little ones for $9.99. What up, y'all? We outside. We got the exclusive Cardi B new album we selling right now. Look at it right here. We got the vinyls. We got the CDs. We got the core edition. Got the core edition, $9.99.
All right, if you're in New York City, look for a street vendor carrying that incense. If you missed her here in New York, that album will be out September 19th. Stay with us. Top Story. More news on the way. Turning now to Top Story's newsfeed, we start with a disturbing story here in New York City. A manhunt underway after an older couple was discovered dead in their home, which officials say was purposefully set on fire. Police say the suspect, Jamel McGriff, went door to door in Queens claiming to need assistance. He gained access to one home where hours later a 76-year-old man was found dead, tied up in his basement with multiple stab wounds. A 77-year-old woman was also discovered dead on the first floor. Police releasing the video of the suspect, who they say is armed and dangerous. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. And a dramatic video out of Michigan showing a boat exploding with passengers and a dog on board just after refueling at a dock. Video capturing the moments of the blast, the boat bursting into flames, throwing the passengers into the water. The two people on board suffered only minor injuries. Sadly, the dog died. Authorities are investigating what caused the blast. And troubling signs for our nation's education. High school students' reading and math scores hitting a new low. 12th grade reading skills are the worst they've been since 1992, according to data just released from the National Center for Education Stats. It also found that in math, nearly half of the test takers scored below a basic level, leaving them unprepared for college. Experts say smartphones, social media, and the pandemic are contributing to the decline. In some other news, I'm going to uplift you here a little bit. Good news for fans of Girl Scout cookies. There's a new flavor joining the lineup. They're called Explore Mores, inspired by Rocky Road ice cream, and will be sold during the Girl Scouts' next cookie season starting in January. Girl Scout says the new cookie reflects the spirit of exploration among their troops. We are also following the Trump administration's escalating immigration crackdown in Chicago called Operation Midway Blitz. The Department of Homeland Security says it's stepping up raids in the Windy City, targeting undocumented immigrants who have committed crimes. Tonight, protests there intensifying as Democratic officials in the state call the operations unnecessary. Adrian Broaddus joins us live tonight with protesters on the streets at this hour. Adrian, tell us what you know.
Hey there, Tom. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties out here, but as you can see behind me, hundreds of people have taken over the streets of Chicago once again. And now that Operation Midway Blitz has been launched here, the protesters are more determined. Some of them in this crowd, this is their third protest in 1 week, and their message is still clear. They want the Trump administration to stay away. This after the White House announcing it is going to increase its crackdown on illegal immigration, telling us they're going after the worst of the worst criminals. We heard from J.B. Pritzker, that's the governor of Illinois, earlier today, who said so far they know there are at least 200 federal agents on the ground here in Chicago. They are in some neighborhoods. It's kind of early to tell how many arrests have been made, but the folks here have been clear. They're not for illegal immigration when people are committing crimes in the community, but their fear is that President Trump will send in members of the National Guard, and that adds another layer of anxiety and concern. And they're also worried about breaking up families, Tom. That is the mood on the ground here today, determination.
Okay, Adrian Broaddus for us there on the streets of Chicago. Adrian, we thank you for that. We want to head to Washington now, where lawmakers today heard from two former employees at Meta, who now say the company suppressed research into child safety online, especially in the world of virtual reality. Our Julie Sirkin speaking exclusively to one of those whistleblowers, Dr. Jason Zatizin, who says he was told by a supervisor to delete evidence allegedly showing a 10-year-old was sexually propositioned on a Meta platform. Here's part of that conversation.
In general, is saying that it is not safe enough for kids to even be on Meta's platforms. Is that right?
I tell my own family not to use it.
Tell your own family not to use it.
And that was even while I was an employee. Children drive profits. If Meta invests more in safety to get kids off of there, engagement goes down, monetization goes down, ad revenue goes down. They need them young. And we know that younger audiences drive later engagement across many types of products. But Meta's smart, they know that too. They need them. They need children.
All right, Julie joins us now live from Capitol Hill. Julie, walk our viewers through what else we heard from these whistleblowers in their testimony.
It was a stunning, damning testimony from these two whistleblowers. And I'll tell you, Tom, they were just 2 of 6 that provided all of these documents, current and former employees of Meta, to Congress, alleging various examples of not only times in which their superiors, these researchers, were forced to suppress information when it comes to how children were being affected by these platforms. Specifically today, we're talking about virtual reality. But as you heard from that witness that I interviewed, this extends to all of Meta's platforms, not only were they told to suppress this information, in some cases they were told to delete it and not even include it. In others, lawyers threatening them, according to these witnesses, that if they didn't delete it, that they would be threatened legally with legal action. And so this was just incredibly damning, incredibly explosive. The question is, will it move the needle?
And I know Meta is pushing back hard on these accounts. What is the company saying?
Yeah, it's really not surprising. I've covered this over the years, and Meta has been probably the biggest blocker in the face of any of these bills moving forward. They've lobbied hard against it. One senator even told me that she can't walk around the corner without running into lobbyists sent by Meta. I want to read you a part of their statement. They're saying, quote, "The claims at the heart of this hearing are nonsense. They're based on selectively leaked internal documents that were picked specifically to craft a false narrative." Here's what's so notable, Tom. It's that I asked the witnesses about this. I asked the senators about it. I even said, look, can parents trust to put their kids online? Should they be using these platforms? And they told me absolutely not. As you heard him say, he wouldn't even tell his parents and family and kids to use them. He also told me he does not trust Mark Zuckerberg or any of the people working at the top to be able to police themselves. And that is why he said the only thing that can fix this is action by Congress, Tom.
And I know you spoke to parents of 2 children who died, and this is terrible, from either cyberbullying or a dangerous online trend. You asked one of them what she would say to Mark Zuckerberg. Here was her reply.
I would say, Mark Zuckerberg, you stood up and you spoke to us, you apologized, and you said you were making all kinds of changes to protect children. And then we got a bill passed almost unanimously through the Senate. And instead of helping to get that safety for children, you spent millions telling lies, fear-mongering, different lies depending on which side you were talking to. And that can't continue. It just can't. He needs to do the right thing. Everybody needs to get on board, and the Kids Online Safety Act needs to pass this year.
So, Julie, she's referring there to that bill that's designed to protect kids online that has been introduced many times but never passed both the Senate and the House. What would it do, and why has it been so hard to get over the finish line? You're there in Capitol Hill every day.
Yeah, and I've covered this issue for years, even when it was first introduced in 2022. Like I said, I've talked to these parents over and over again, and even when it looked like it was so close, Tom, last year, nearly unanimously passing the Senate, it was dead in the House. Why? Because of big tech. That's what these senators on both sides of the aisle, by the way, I can't think of another issue that unites Republicans and Democrats more than protecting kids online than this one, of course. And so when you talk about the Kids Online Safety Bill, this is something that would give parents more tools in their toolbox, not only to help their kids with privacy on these platforms, but also to hold these companies accountable. It is extremely hard, Tom, for these parents to go up against companies like Meta and actually win, even if their kids die because of cyberbullying or die because of viral challenges, not only on Meta platforms, but also on TikTok, on Snapchat, on X. There are so many of these platforms. Parents just don't know what to do, and they need Congress to help.
Yeah, and it can be so harmful, as we've learned there from those poor parents. Okay, Julie, great reporting. We thank you for bringing that to us tonight here on Top Story. Next up, we got Health Check, and a big one, the concerning rise in people living with diabetes. But get this, they don't even know they have it. Almost half of people ages 15 and older with diabetes are unaware, according to the journal The Lancet Diabetes and Endocrinology. The study also found major treatment disparities in low and middle income countries. For more details on this, I want to bring in Dr. Rekha Kumar. She's an endocrinologist at Cornell and senior medical advisor to found a telehealth company. Dr. Kumar, always great to have you here. And great to see you back here on Top Story. So explain to us, how can you have diabetes and not know it?
Yeah, so the way this study was done was it actually looked at what we call the diabetes care cascade. So it looked at the proportion of people who have diabetes, who get diagnosed, who get treatment, and then reach treatment goals. So it's not a clinical trial where you know the exact number of people, but it's looking at health surveys and sampling portions of populations and then using statistical analysis to extrapolate that to larger populations.
Got it. What are some of the signs people may have diabetes or pre-diabetes that people should look out for and then get tested?
The thing that's tricky is that signs and symptoms are when blood sugar is very high. So increased thirst, urination, blurry vision, those are things that happen when blood sugar gets very high. But most people with type 2 diabetes that are just walking around with high blood sugar but not symptomatically high are the ones we're missing, especially in low and middle income countries.
Give me an example.
So an example could actually be just arbitrarily, let's say, a busy 50-year-old male or female who skipped their annual physical a few years in a row because they were busy with their job, busy with their kids, busy with their parents, and may have had what we call weight creep. They've noticed an increase in their weight, maybe diet slipped a little, lack of exercise. And this is someone that at an annual physical, maybe they would have seen pre-diabetes, a little bit of an increase. But when you're not knowing your numbers, then you might be walking around with type 2 diabetes and not knowing it.
Yeah. What do GLP-1s, like we throw that into the mix, right? Would that help people? I mean, would it still come up in a test if you were on a GLP-1 and you were getting, say, healthier and you were losing that weight? Would the diabetes diagnosis still pop up on this test?
So a GLP-1 wouldn't mask the diagnosis of type 2 diabetes, but I would say that right now GLP-1s aren't really a preventative tool. There are people out there using it that way. But this study that we're talking about looked at 204 countries and territories, including lower income areas where routine screening isn't even possible. So GLP-1s are an extremely expensive tool that are still primarily used in high-income, high-earning areas. So yes, if everyone were on a GLP-1, would we be able to see less type 2 diabetes? Absolutely, but we are far from that.
You know, the issue with the symptoms that you were talking about, it can be kind of, I don't know, you could maybe have those symptoms and not really know it's something more serious like diabetes. Talk to me about the blurred vision, maybe some of the other standout symptoms that people should really like say, listen, if this happens to you, you should go see your doctor.
So there's the standout symptoms of blurry vision, excess thirst, and excess urination.
When you say excess thirst, I mean, you mean like people drinking water all day. They have the water bottles now. I mean, people are constantly drinking water. How do you know if you have excess thirst?
If you can't make it through the night and you're waking up multiple times a night to drink water, I agree with you. With people walking around with Stanleys these days, it's hard to know the difference between just wanting to drink and actually drinking for thirst. When you see people having excess urination and thirst from high blood sugar and they don't know what's going on, they're often chasing it with things like juice and soda, rather than water because they're losing calories in their urine.
Yeah. No, I was going to say thank you. I was just going to say thank you, but that was like very, very helpful. We thank you so much, Doctor, for being here today. We just got some breaking news in. President Trump just speaking on a number of issues, including Israel's strike on Hamas leaders in Qatar and a letter to Jeffrey Epstein that allegedly included his signature. Let's take a listen.
I was very unhappy about it, very unhappy about every aspect, and we got to get the hostages back. But I was very unhappy about the way that went down.
Mr. President, when do you plan to speak to Freeman? I mean, you said soon. Is that going to happen this week?
Yeah, it'll happen. We have that one and we have Gaza going on. We want to get them both solved and ended.
So Putin's going to have the call will happen this week?
I think so. I think this week or early next week. Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy it. It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time knows that's not my language. It's nonsense. And frankly, you're wasting your time. All you do is trying to get off the great successes. D.C. and about 200 other things we've done that are so successful. This is a great, great success, and we have so many. I don't think any president in their first 8 months has had anywhere near the success that we've had.
So will you meet with the Epstein victims? Do you plan to meet with?
I don't know about, nobody suggested that.
But would you be open to doing that?
Certainly I don't like that whole situation with respect to anybody being abused or hurt, but I haven't even thought about that.
President Trump there speaking about the Epstein allegations and that letter and signature. He's saying it was not his in that birthday book, and also talking about the situations in Ukraine and Israel, saying they're going to try to work to resolve them. Okay, when Top Story returns, growing unrest in Nepal, the country's prime minister resigning after days of deadly protest. We have the latest on the demonstrations and why Gen Zers are taking to the streets. This is interesting. Stay with us. We're back with the latest update on fierce demonstrations in Nepal dubbed Gen Z protests, sparked by a government effort to block major social media platforms. Protesters today storming and setting fire to the nation's parliament building as the prime minister announces his resignation. NBC's Raf Sanchez reports.
Fiery protests tonight in what may be the world's first revolution powered by Gen Z. Thousands of young people outraged over a ban on social media apps like Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. storming the parliament of Nepal and setting it ablaze. Defiantly waving artifacts looted from government buildings. The chaos forcing the prime minister to resign and shutting down the country's main international airport. Demonstrators demanding change, including an end to government corruption.
It is very good for our country. Now I think like us youth will stand and will develop the country.
We are fighting lawyers' corruption! At least 22 people have been killed over 2 days as protesters clash with heavily armed riot police. These officers firing tear gas, but they can't hold back the crowds and are soon forced to retreat.
Raf Sanchez joins us tonight. And Raf, you mentioned in the piece that these protests were sparked by a ban on social media. What was the thinking behind that ban, and how was it supposed to work?
So, Tom, the government's justification was that they were trying to crack down on fraud and on disinformation. They imposed a whole bunch of restrictions on social media companies, including saying that they had to register with the government. Some of the companies did comply with those, but most didn't, and that led to them being immediately taken offline. That includes the big ones: Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube. That would have caused anger anywhere in the world. It's especially sensitive in Nepal because so many people there have family members who are living overseas, who are sending money home. And so this social media ban effectively cutting them off from their loved ones. The government has now backed down. Those sites are now back online, but it remains to be seen whether that's going to be enough to calm the anger on the streets. Tom.
Raf Sanchez for us in those wild images out of Nepal. Raf, we thank you. We're going to stay overseas now with Top Stories Global Watch. At least 24 people killed in eastern Ukraine today after officials say a Russian bomb hit a village where folks were standing in line to collect their pensions. Nearly 20 others were hurt. You can see the debris scattered throughout the blast zone, which is just a few miles from the front lines. Russian officials are denying any responsibility for that attack. Police in the UK arresting a man for allegedly carrying a tear gas canister that's suspected of causing a partial evacuation at Heathrow. The video shows travelers waiting outside a terminal for hours yesterday as emergency crews responded to the scene. We're told paramedics treated about 20 people for minor injuries. Police say they're still investigating the incident, but at this point, they don't believe it was terror-related. And French President Emmanuel Macron naming a new prime minister. He's tapped 39-year-old Sébastien Lecornu just a day after legislators voted to topple the government. Lecornu had been serving as France's defense minister. Now he's set to become the 5th prime minister in less than 2 years. He's taking over as the country faces growing uncertainty over its economy. All right, now to the newest addition to the iPhone lineup, hitting shelves soon. Apple unveiling the iPhone 17, its skinniest smartphone yet, less than 6 millimeters thick, and AirPod Pros capable of instant language translation. Our Brian Chung was at the demonstration and has this report.
Introducing the newest member of the iPhone family.
Tonight, Apple making the first big new addition to its smartphone lineup in years, the iPhone Air.
This is the iPhone Air. It's what Apple says is their slimmest iPhone yet at just under 6 millimeters in thickness. This is their big bet. It's a new addition to their lineup.
In addition to new iPhone 17s and 17 Pros, Apple also debuting new AirPods Pros that use artificial intelligence.
Live translation begins.
To do live translations.
Definitely. The client will love that.
As well as new smartwatches that can use health data to give you motivational prompts when working out.
That's a new record. You just walked the longest distance in a walking workout this month.
The new products are Apple's new line of defense against competitors, offering phones that flip and fold and boasting bolder artificial intelligence features.
Show me where to start. Unscrew the slip nuts.
As far as the impact of tariffs on prices, it's unclear.
iPhone 17 starts at $799.
The new range of iPhones start at the same price, but its Pro models are now slightly more expensive. The baseline 17 Pro is $100 more than last year's baseline, though it also has more storage. Apple says their new products will hit stores September 19.
And Tom, I got to say, I was in the Steve Jobs Theater demoing that brand new iPhone Air. It really is remarkably thin. And it's also worth noting that the bezel was extremely shiny as well. I think that sparkle is going to get to a lot of consumers. But look, this is the offering that Apple has added to its lineup, hoping that it can compete against the likes of Samsung and also Google. The question is whether or not this will succeed at that $1,000 price point for that new iPhone Air. All of these questions certainly as Apple is trying to make sure it can deepen its foothold on the smartphone market here in the United States. Tom.
Brian Chung, our thanks to you. And we are back in a moment with the incredible story of a 9-year-old who's making history on his college campus. You heard me right. What he says he's looking to learn in the classroom. That's next. Finally tonight, at just 9 years old, little Aiden Wilkins is about to become the youngest member of his freshman class, and not his high school class. This whiz kid is already headed to college. And as NBC's Rahema Ellis reports, he's already got his sights set on giving back to kids just like him.
At 9 years old, Aiden Wilkins is making history at a Pennsylvania college.
Every little thing I learn just fascinates me.
And feeling right at home as the youngest student to ever take classes at Ursinus.
I just feel like, okay, I'm in a classroom with people more than double my age.
Okay, because this class in neuroscience is helping Aiden focus on what he wants to be when he grows up.
The reason why I want to be a pediatric neurosurgeon is mainly because, well, I like helping kids around my age.
Since 3, Aiden loved watching anatomy videos.
I was always fascinated when I saw, like, the brain.
Aiden's mom says his genius was evident when he was still in diapers.
He was reading signs and correcting people's sentences, and he was actually correct.
He was promoted to high school at 7, when most kids his age go into the 2nd grade. Now at 9, Aiden is in college 3 days a week and has virtual classes as a sophomore in high school. Part of Aiden's gift is his love of things other kids his age also enjoy.
I mainly like to play video games.
But more than anything, Aiden loves learning.
I'm going to go straight to med school and kind of just see how I do.
One gifted child who may be a gift to all of us. Rahema Ellis, NBC News.
All right, that does it for us. Thanks so much for watching Top Story. I'm Tom Llamas in New York. Stay right there. More news on the way. We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.